dog, one child, one youth, one dog, you think big, you. Together we can do this in our continent, you. Think big, you. I say one dog, one child, one youth, one dog, you. Think big, you. Together we can do this in our continent, you. Think big, you.
Good morning to the global community of Tiashin. It is 7:19 in the morning. Certain areas on the continent of Africa. This is Chief Abundance coming to you on the 9th of June 2022. It is always a pleasure to greet and to address the global community on this life-changing mission. We are a movement. We are basically on a road to accomplish that which has never yet been accomplished. And I am saying that because you are looking for the familiar. And so when you do not see the familiar, you are lost. This is not just a coin. As I mentioned ad nauseum, we are not just a cryptocurrency like the other 18,000 plus cryptocurrencies that are now on the market. Our mission and vision, I beg every one of you to go to our white paper, digest the white paper, because except you understand our white paper, you will not understand TAC at all. You will just present it as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin. People looking for instant and fast gratification to satisfy self. We are more than self. The Abundance Community Coin has taken the Afro-Caribbean, in particular, our struggles. We have calculated the centuries that we have been robbed of our dignity and still being robbed today of our identity. Who is Mr. Abundance? Where my ancestors were shipped from? What is my real name and tribe? Which country can I be linked to? My last name is Williams, which tells me that my ancestors, when they were taken to the other side, across the Atlantic, the slave master's owner last name was Williams. And those slaves were named after him. And so in my country, you will have different sections, parishes that are named after our slave masters, and they're still intact today. And areas that were known to be agricultural ground, food production, cane fields, because that was the economy of those days. Just like we have now come to a more digitalized online world, it wasn't like that before. Tiashans, we need to wake up and understand that the only thing that is constant is change. And so whether you decide to come now or to come later, you will have to come. It's just like the smartphone. And being ignorant of not knowing how to use a smartphone today will not stop the technology from advancing. It will only put you back. It will only make you and your children's life more difficult. And so what do you want? To get ahead or to be dragging behind? We are in a very unique position. I'm talking about the community of Tiashans. I am not here to promise anyone return on any investment, as our policies on our website would have set forth in our terms and conditions. A lot of you need to go there. This is not financial advice either. But the fact remains is that if we decide to speak in one voice as our team renders for this year, after Dr. Bose would have divinely recap the story of the Tower of Babel, because that's where it came from. When the infinite, who knows all things, of which we possessed, a lot of you don't know that. Some of you think you're only physical. No, you're both physical and spiritual. And the spiritual side of you, Tiashans, cannot die. And so if the spiritual side of you cannot die, then who are you? And if the infinite calls you son, then who are you? I say to you, Tiashans, and I've said it before, but some of you did not get it. What is impossible with men is possible with the infinite. And I'm going to drop another text that seemingly contradict this one, because some of us will argue that the script is controversial. But may I take you into the realm of the spirit? Leave the physical for a little while, because in the physical we are all limited. That is what you do not understand. As we think, as our default menu dictates, because all of us have a default menu, just like a computer and a phone has a default setting. We all have our default settings. And more often than not, we go back to the flesh, because that's where we feel most comfortable. It doesn't take no effort to utter nonsense or behave like the unaccomplished. It takes no effort. With men, that which is or seemingly is impossible, with the infinity says it is possible. And then we are told in the same breath that nothing is impossible to them that believe. Does not that sound contradictory? What is impossible with men is possible with the infinite, then the infinite is saying to the same men, if you can believe, then nothing is impossible. May I suggest to the Tiashans that the infinite that is within us are simply saying to all of us in the Tiashan community, if you say to Tak, you are 100,000 before this year per coin. If you say to Tak, you are 100,000 before the end of this year. Because once you say something, it means the secret within your utterance is to doubt not. But that's what he says. Nothing, he says nothing. He did not say something. And so if we say Tak can be a million or a billion for one coin, Tak can become. He says nothing is impossible to them that believe. He even went on to say, you don't even have to have much faith. All it takes is a size of a grain of a mustard seed, O Tiashans. So why are you in the state that you find yourself? Why are we in the state that we found ourselves? May we examine our input so that we can give a different output. Nothing is impossible to them that believe. And an expanded note, what the infinite is saying, your carnal way of thinking has limitation on your accomplishment, no matter where you are in this world. And there are impossibilities or limitations as to where your physical thinking can take you. And that is the fact. Can you be, I'm asking the Tiashan, because sometimes, as I told you, it is not the money that makes you become, is your ability to think and to understand and to be able to envision, because once you begin to think differently, then your output becomes different. You think when I show up to work at Jolly Beach Hotel as a waiter, I was trained as a waiter. If my thought thinking was just a level of a waiter, I would have been a waiter from the day I entered to when I left. Some 11 years working for one company, one management. I would have been 11 years as a waiter, as many were actually doing. They enter as a waiter and waitress, 10, 15 years, 20 years, and they stop at that level. That wasn't my thinking. You become what you think, not what you want, what you think. And so, Tiashan, the infinite is saying to us this morning that once we go to the higher level in the spiritual realm and remain steadfast in that which we pronounced, it has to be done. The illustration of speaking to the mountain and it shall be removed, it's an illustration to tell you that in the spiritual realm, no mountain cannot be removed if you remain steadfast. And so what is impossible with men, with the physical, the infinity says it is possible in the spiritual. I'm talking about with the same man now. It's you and I the infinite is talking about. What is impossible with our mindset, the way we do things for centuries, the physical things? He says for you to get a different result. Because on that level, there are so much impossibilities. Even when he, the infinite, was on earth, he was incapacitated because he was clothed with flesh and blood, based on the script, if you believe. So he could not be in all places at the same time. I'm talking about the infinite, the three in one. Yes. You know, the script says that great is the mystery of the Godhead. I would not even go into that one this morning because some of you, I will scatter your faith. So I will not even touch that one this morning. But even him had limitation. The one who created all things. When he decided to clothe into flesh and blood, he himself had limitations. But that's what the physical do. It limits you. You can't be in Africa and in the US at the same time. But with your mind, with your spiritual capacity, you can be in 100 places at the same time. That is what the infinite is saying. Spiritually, you can be there. Because as you think it, that's it. I can be thinking on France, Germany, the US, London at the same time. Split of seconds. I can go between countries and continents. Split of seconds. That is what the infinite is saying. At that level, there are no impossibilities. And so, Tiashen, I will stay here this morning. I think it was a philosopher, Socrates, that call upon man to know thyself. This is chief.